Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker Lois Coffey. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
So, just to introduce you as, a hugely successful sales and marketing, lead generation healer, and and continually in coaching other people to create business from a place of authenticity, from a place of you're going to hear my throat. I have a little bit of throat stuff today. Being willing to share what's really going on behind the scenes, behind the facade, if you will, of, coming from an ego, but really looking at what makes someone want to work with you, what makes someone want to reach out to you, because ultimately we're looking for someone to have a conversation with us so we can get to know them and steer them in the direction of possibly working with you. That's the purpose of sales, obviously, but it does take something. For healers especially, showing up authentic, showing up without that, oh, I can go and make this happen, and sort of rah motivation. Some people, that really works for a lot of people, but as we're evolving into the spiritual beings that we are, it doesn't work. And the reason is that it comes from a place of, for me, it comes from a place of needing something, needing and wanting and desiring and getting and striving. And so that doesn't really, people are just too smart now, mostly. I think people are wise to the idea that I don't want to be sold something that I may not need.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I really wanted to explore today is the idea of what has to shift in you as the coach or the healer or the business owner. What has to shift in you? This is all just coming into my mind right now.
Yeah.
That that would change how you approach the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want to talk about. And I really want to talk about what works for you and your clients, and also what you think is coming down the road. And, and I'm glad we've got the replays on. So we'll be able to listen to this again later, and other people will too. So as a healer coach and, really high powered sales person who's you've spent your life helping people sell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about all that?
Oh my gosh, this is such
I know you have a lot to say.
I know, right? This is a big question. So I'm gonna start out with the kind of like the 30,000-foot view and what I've learned in 23 years in sales, and what I've also learned in the last 2 years that is much even deeper. There's two words that I'd like you guys to write down, and then we can break it down and wrap back and forth about this, Monica, because I'd love to get your insights on this too. The two words that I want you to write down is know thyself.
Yes.
Know thyself, because here's the biggest issue. I've personally experienced this. Okay, just to give you guys context, I've made multiple six figures in multiple industries, and I also failed miserably and lost everything in the real estate crash of 2007 2008, and was homeless, foreclosure, bankruptcy, the whole thing. I did everything. I didn't just lose a little. I lost everything, including my belief in myself. So I lost myself, and eventually to just simply find myself again, because I had lost my belief. I was triggered in my not enoughness. I didn't believe when a bunch of people were telling me, oh my gosh, Lois, who's going to listen to you? You just lost all your money. You were homeless, this, that, and the other. And so I was triggered by that trauma, and it set me on a different path altogether. And the pandemic actually woke me up and helped me come back and right that shift. So I've actually been spending the last year and a half coming back to what I knew when I was 20, 21, 22 when I first got into sales, is just knowing myself, trusting myself. That's the most important thing. That calmness from within, that confidence, that belief is what people are buying. That's what they are buying. And when you are grounded and rooted in your truth and yourself, as opposed to the opposite of that would be people pleasing, trying to be all things to all people, trying to have 20 things to sell, or even sometimes even two things, Monica, is too much because people are scattered in their energy. And they're oftentimes, what I did in my own journey of mistakes was, again, people pleasing, trying to be all things to all people. Oh, this program doesn't work for you? Oh, no problem. I can personalize. And then I made like 5 or 6 or 7 lead magnets. And then I was also trying to market 5 or 6 or 7 different lead magnets. And then I got completely, dazed and confused. And again, it comes back to know thyself. What is your truth? How do you serve people? And of course, knowing thyself comes from the heart. I'm not talking about head knowing, I'm talking about heart knowing. So I'm going to take a breath and what do you think about that? Any thoughts or questions or feedback?
Yeah, this is great because the heart is the answer. The heart and the gut is where we actually reside, where we can tell the truth from. And when you are committed and rooted in yourself, I don't think people really often know what that means. If they're not there, if they're still trying to get something and trying to fit in, and I've struggled with it myself. Like, how do I represent myself in this noisy coaching world without selling myself out to who I'm not?
Right. And I know you can speak to that, and I can speak to that. I don't know if we want to talk about that, or if I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but that's I think stories are really critical for helping people understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little, about how it was for me to, first of all, discover that I am a very powerful mind trainer, healer of the mind. For 25 years, I'd been already doing that, but I didn't recognize it as a commodity, as something I could really monetize and make money from, because I had done it in a spiritual center where we did not charge for what we were doing. We were just healing and awakening people, like from all over the world. And it was all done by just, through the miracle, through allowing love to guide us. And so when that was over for me, that whole spiritual journey wasn't over. My journey wasn't over, but that part of it was over. The center really was completed. Our teacher had left his body, and it was time for me to kind of go out on my own or do whatever I was going to do next, which was really confusing. It took a few years to figure it all out. And I actually became a massage therapist because all I knew is that I could heal people. And I didn't really want to touch bodies because I knew it was all mind. Really, it begins in the mind. Every disease, every problem that we have really does begin in the mind. It begins in the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that, but I had to go into including the body, including the systems of, circulation and nervous system. I had to learn all this stuff about our human body. And it really put me through something, because I was 50 years old. I was like, why am I having to do this? But then I got into it and I stopped arguing with my guidance about it, and trusting that this was part of the plan for me to learn this and to learn energy systems and how to work with energy, which I'd actually already been doing, but did it without knowing what I was doing.
Right
So
on.
yeah. So when I I did massage for 6 years, and when that started to collapse, because it was kind of time for me to shift out of that and get into the transformation business and, create more impact, which was my whole purpose.
Mm.
Um, it was scary. I didn't know what I was doing. And until I hired my own coach, business coach, was floundering and scared because I didn't know what I was doing. So for a whole year, I just shared with some friends today that I was, still doing massage because I had to make money, but I kept getting this guidance about get out of the massage business and get into the transformation business. We're going to give you the information. We're going to give you everything you need. And it did start to trickle in, and my guidance started to show up. And some of the programs I still have today are those programs that came through me at that time. And it was hard because I didn't trust it. I just didn't trust it at first. I was like, really? People are going to pay me for this? Okay. And a lot of building a business is trial and error, as you know.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. Try this, see if it works. If it doesn't work, great. Try something else. It's no real direct path, right? It's a very messy journey where you're trying things and learning from the mistakes you're making and learning from other people, and hiring coaches and learning from them. And so within 6 months, though, I did hire a business coach and I had a business. And I started making a whole lot more money than I'd ever made. Not a huge, multiple six figures or anything, but I was doing better than definitely as a massage therapist. And I loved it though. This was the key was I actually discovered my spiritual gifts by taking a
Mm.
chance. And I think
Mm.
that's really still where I am today. I know I have these amazing gifts and I still have, we're looking at how to market it, how to get the digital, how to find people that are looking for me, how to meet that need that's out there from that people need to in order to support their growth and their spiritual awakening and their business building, because I see it as all of part of the same thing. So that's my
Awesome.
story.
Yeah, no, that was valuable, very valuable. And you reminded me of one thing that I didn't mention, but would be maybe step number two. Number one, know thyself, believe in yourself and your gifts, and that you have value to add to the marketplace, to the world. And then, of course, hire a coach. And that's what I did. I was only like 21 or 22 when I started in real estate. And I started out part time. Get this, I still had a full time job. I went to college for journalism. I didn't want to give up on that dream just yet. And
Hmm.
so I worked nights and weekends at the newspaper. So I didn't have,
Wow.
and realtors always typically work nights and weekends and oftentimes are kind of on call all the time. And I knew I didn't want that life. That was not for me. And I just made it work. And I made six figures in my first year. And that was, not working nights and weekends. And of course, the coach, the accountability was huge.
Hmm.
And like you said, this would be like my third tip. So number one, know thyself, have a coach who's actually successful, and make sure you interview slash interrogate a bunch of them. Don't just hire the first one that you find, right? But then also having that consistency of getting your name out there, and minimum for 90 days straight, like the 12-week year concepts that that I'm so passionate about. And by having that consistency, going back to why you and I are talking today, you build your belief. You test the marketplace. This is not a get rich quick scheme when you build your business, people. I got to remind you, first 2 years most businesses don't make a profit, and that's also because a lot of you know businesses do go into debt to possibly six figures of debt in order to make the multiple six figures. Now the good news is, as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, guess what, we don't need to do that. In fact, my overhead is very low. I'm actually so grateful, and it's very humbling to be able to have that, because now in this day and age, you can just talk to people online. You can, reach out and get referrals. There's so many ways, but the key thing is to build consistency over a 90-day period minimum. And then, you've built your belief, you've tested the marketplace with your conversations, with your lead magnets, with whatever, and be open for feedback. That's the other thing, is be open for feedback. on the marketplace's responses. I'll give you an example. So for me, I started out with no email list, no podcast, no clue how to do webinars, no clue how to do a lead magnet. And I decided in the middle of the pandemic to just do weekly webinars and test the marketplace and be consistent. So for 12 weeks straight, I did one webinar and it helped me know myself. It helped me build belief. And guess what? I didn't make a lot of money those first 12 weeks. You've heard my story. I made a whopping 2,500 bucks. And I didn't even work 8-hour days because I had homeschooling, I had grief recovery therapy because my mom and my brother had died. So just giving you guys context. However, I knew I had a vision and a mission, and I knew because of being in sales for 20 years, I knew I had to be consistent. So I had that muscle built. If you're newer to this, especially if you're a coach or a healer, you're probably needing to build some muscle. Go to the lead generation gym. be able to get into your daily activities, your income producing activities again for 12 weeks straight. And then guess what? On the back end of that, I was able to get to 10K months by my fourth month, and then I never looked back. And I've even reinvented myself since 2020. So I guess what? Even though I have a big email list, I have a big following on my podcast, I made major shifts just in the past 6 months actually. And I was not quite like starting over. However, guess what? I got to go back to the drawing board and test the marketplace with new webinars, new lead magnets. And now I'm happy to report, even though the times were lean for a while because I had to test the marketplace. I had all of this inner work to do, which you helped me with so graciously with the Course in Miracles and being my friend. But it took time, a labor of love. And now this month has been my biggest grossing month for the whole year. And it's because I was consistent, and I've had coaches and support just like you. And I'm back to really being clear on my value and being able to go out with more confidence daily to be able to share that with the marketplace. And now the marketplace is responding by boom. I just had a $2,000 sale yesterday land in my lap after being on vacation for 7 days, after, just not even really, I don't like this word, but I'm going to say it, not even really trying. I didn't work a whole lot this summer because the kids are out of school and this, that, and the other. And that is the power of what we're talking about here today. I was authentic. I didn't even have to ask her to pull her credit card out. I quoted her the dollar amount. We were on the call for maybe 15, 20 minutes. I told her about my program. And of course, the fortunes and the follow-up, that would be my final statement, is she's someone I had a sales call with last October. I put in my notes in my CRM, the last time I actually talked to her was February. Okay. And then I happened to reach back out to her, I want to say a couple weeks ago. And she's like, Lois, I'm ready. And because of the authenticity, because of the consistency, the follow-up, because I know myself, it wasn't a hard sell. Like literally, she pulled out her credit card. And that was the only call I had yesterday because I was just flying back in from my trip. So not a bad way to start my first day back after a 7-day vacation.
Really great, Lois. That's, whenever I hear you speak, it's always trial and error, and you did the thing, and you did the thing, and you did the thing, and you never stopped doing the thing, and you just kept going, and you got very clear about who you are, what you do, what you're bringing to this marketplace or to the world is something very valuable and you do it with huge authenticity. So that's why I love you. So I really enjoy being part of your team, and I just feel like most people don't want to put in the time. I struggle with it, the building that email list. Most people don't. They want it to be easier. They want to be able to snap their fingers and go, oh, well, why aren't people just showing up for my webinar? Why aren't they just showing up? Because you haven't actually established the relationship with them yet. And that's very, very important for me. Like establishing relationship with people is what you taught me, what any great coach will teach you. It's not about the numbers as much as it's about making people feel heard and acknowledged and loved and supported, and that you have a program that actually gets results, of course. So I would just share that. That's what I really heard in what you just shared too, that when you start out, of course you don't have a big email list. Of course you don't, you might have several lead magnets and you can test them out. But the point is to go all in on one thing for 12 weeks. And that's really what I learned from the 12-week year, and from your coaching on that too, was go all in on one thing. Don't keep switching it up. And I've heard other really successful entrepreneurs say that too, like do what works and don't do anything else. Do what works, don't do anything else. Don't get sidetracked into the next shiny object that comes along.
Yeah.
Be really consistent in what you're offering, what your message is, and then how you go about telling people who you are, or sharing with people. It's really sharing, and it's coaching and sharing as you're delivering your message. Would you agree with
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's about it. There is a good book. I'm not like huge into a lot of the old school sales books anymore, because you and I both know it all comes from the heart, and knowing thyself. However, there's a great book out there, Jab Jab Right Hook, by Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's basically give, give, ask, give value, ask. That's why the fortunes and the follow up, and I still do believe in this algorithm or this stat. It does take 5 to 12 touches for people to really fall in love with you, to really trust you. And I am shocked at how many people think that 1 or 2 conversations is going to close the deal. And so you definitely want to have that, not only that consistency for 90 days to talking to new people and adding value. How are you following up? And again, going back to the topic of authenticity, are you, being authentic? And again, are you still all in on that one topic? I'm not going to lie, I'm on a lot of people's email lists, and even my spiritual coaches and healers, and it's like every week they're selling a new product or they're selling a new thing. And I want to just tell you guys, please, please stop. I did that. And you just want to make sure you go all in on one thing for 12 weeks. And even in your follow up, don't throw too much at people, because confusion doesn't sell. And then you look like a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. And they're not going to believe that you are an expert on that one thing or that one topic. I'll be transparent with you. I still struggle with it at times. Like you and I've talked about this. I have my mindset and sales mastery program, and I'm still refining it, still tweaking it, still getting feedback from clients and customers and people from the marketplace. So that's another little quick tip. If you're starting something new and you want to get feedback, and you're like maybe afraid to ask for the higher ticket dollars, the authentic thing is to say, hey, this is my first time running this program. You're an early adopter or a beta tester. I would love it if you'd be one of my first people to give this program a try, or this lead magnet, or whatever this thing is. Just like when I did those 12 webinars, granted they were free, and I was selling a very low ticket thing at the very beginning of the pandemic. But then the feedback, oh my gosh! And then my first 10K month actually was all beta testers, and then it gave me the confidence and the testimonials to then more than double my prices. And then that's how I got to multiple 5-figure months. So that's just a little other hidden elements, going back to authenticity, the topic of the day, and why it's so important to be consistent and really go all in on one thing for 90 days and test, and then course correct.
Yeah, totally love it. Stephen, welcome. Do you have a question or something you want to share in this conversation?
I'm just really grateful for everything I just heard. I'm finding myself in kind of an interesting position right now where for the last 3 years, I was writing safety protocol for a big food processing company. So I'm a technical writer. I work in risk management. I work on logic, but I was also a high school teacher for several years. And what I've learned about myself is that what I love more than anything is to help people see their path more clearly and to help them see their own possibilities. So I'm kind of a I love being a strategist, helping other people see what their skill set is and how they can apply it in ways that are, better for them, and how they can start living now rather than putting off their dreams for later. So I'm starting up as a consultant, and I just formed an LLC. I'm trying to figure out what is the one thing that I'm going to double down on, because my skill set right now is technical writing, but my joy comes from helping people really find who they are, and be able to make all of their decisions based on their core values, and to have a clearer vision for what their life should look like. So I'm like, I've got to make money. I've got a wife and 4 kids, and we're running out of cash because it's been a while since I was working full time. But I really want to be able to transform people's lives. So I'm really grateful for this concept of find one thing, double down on it. I'm I I don't know where to find leads, I think is the biggest thing, and I'm not crystal clear on what it is I'm selling, because I know for a fact that I have been transformative in a lot of people's lives in terms of helping them see their own possibilities and helping them know how to get there. But I don't know how to package that.
Great question. And hey, by the way, I was a technical writer too.
Nice.
Years. Yeah, it helped me a lot understand how to organize information and really communicate clearly. So it's a great skill to have in this business too. I'd love, Lois, to answer you. I do something similar. I go deep in mindset, though. I really help people shift their belief system. But I do ultimately help them find their purpose. Who are you? What do you care about? What is your vision for your life? And where are you stopped is really where I begin. But I could pull it out of you if we had an hour, because it's not a mystery. It's just a discovery that you will find as you go deeper and deeper into yourself, what it is you care about, and how you want to transform these people's lives and why. When you are clear about that, then you can get who you're supposed to work with and your messaging. And when that's dialed in, then you'll know what to do about leads and in your lead magnet, which is what Lois was referring to. That lead magnet is the thing that will bring them to you, because you're going to be answering a question that they have and solving a problem that they have. So I hope that gave you some insight.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like my big why behind why I feel so passionately about helping people get clear on what they want and how to get it is that I wandered for so long that I have never been sure of what I wanted. And I think so much of that stems from wanting to just help other people in every way that I can. And so that, lends itself to, I've done that in so many ways. I was a teacher. I was a coordinator for organ transplants. I'm not happy unless I'm helping people. And I've tried to help people in so many different ways. And now I want other people to be able to give themselves that freedom of getting clarity of what they're good at. What are your God-given talents, and how can you apply those and show up in the world in a way that is good for you and profitable for you. So it's like I need to
That's
coach
it.
myself because I'm trying to get
Yeah,
people to
you
do
just said it.
exactly what I'm doing,
Exactly what you're doing. You just said it very clearly. Write it down. That's your mission. And it isn't a mystery. And people do need that. And when you express it from the way you just did, with all that authenticity of what you have struggled with, that this was a problem for you, you want to help people, but you've been trying all these different things, and you haven't found the thing, and now you're onto it, and it's like it's gold because you've lived it. And then the message will be very clear, easy to come to, if you go deep enough into that and really focus on it, really get it. This is important. This is so important. Your message, who you're showing up as, and how, even you won't have to worry about how, but eventually you're going to want to know, well, how are you different from other people? What makes you stand out? What makes you a little bit more seasoned as and experienced, as opposed to someone who just went out and got a coaching certification a couple months ago and now calls himself a coach. Okay.
Right.
Come
And
on,
and
Lois.
that's and I think I have an answer for that too, because I've worked in risk management for so long that what I really focus on is like root cause analysis. I dig and dig and dig until people give me real answers. I was coaching a client the other day, and I was helping them. They've had a side hustle that's been successful for the last 10 years. They lost all of their business during COVID, and then they regained that massive contract so that they had money coming in again. And I said, what is it that you actually want? Oh, well, we want this business to be growing. We need to, triple the size of it. I was like, okay. And when that happens, then what? Well, then we're going to branch out and we're going to open up another location. Okay. And then once that pans out, what do you want? What will that allow you to do? And they said, well, we really want to travel the world. I said, Kathy, that's great. Let's make every decision based on what you actually want so that you're not stuck at the end of this trying to run two locations of this business. Because if you actually want to travel, you're going to have to make every decision based on that idea that you're not there. And her eyes lit up and it was like, whoa, okay, that's where we need to be. And they hadn't thought
You
it
already have
through.
this gift. You already have a gift for this. It's so great. And I know Lois is probably going to have something to share about this too, because she's studied with Frank Kern, and there's a lot about you being happy today, not waiting
Right.
for it to happen. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because I thank you for saying that I have a gift for this, because I feel it and I just don't know how to get clients. I don't know how to I just need people to let me in enough so that we can have conversations so that I can help them transform their lives. And I always do it out of love. I would do it for free, except that I have to feed my kids. you know?
Absolutely. No, that's great. Yeah, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. However, it's my mission to help people have not be in that place of having more month at the end of money, because that's a
Right.
really hard place to be in. Like I said, I've been homeless. I had a long experience with scarcity and not enoughness, and it's actually part of what Monica and I share inside of our mindset and sales mastery. So if you have any interest, we'd love to give you like a free month so you could experience that, but no pressure. I just wanted to share that with you before I forgot. Finding leads, number one, it definitely starts with you having the passion and knowing what you're good at. So you already got that. Then there's a video I can send you to on what I call the 5 W's training. I don't know if you've sat with and actually wrote out your 5 W's: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And so the who is definitely a huge part, is who's your target market, and do you know who exactly is your target market? Do you have a narrow niche?
I've thought about it a lot, and I feel like it's people who are 10 years into a career who need to pivot, and they're looking at their life going, what have I been doing and what do I want now?
Gotcha.
I seem to catch people in transition moments, whether they're transitioning from full-time employment to running a business, or they just lost a job and they're looking to find a completely different type of job.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a vulnerable spot where they're introspective.
Okay, cool. Well, one thing I'm going to tell you, this will be an opportunity for you as you test the marketplace and go all in on one thing for 90 days. You're going to have a little bit of a challenge with where you're at right now, but it's a good place to be. You don't have to be great to start. As Zig Ziglar said, you do, however, got to start to become great. And so I'll use myself as an example. I knew that I wanted to work with anyone and everybody in sales. But guess what? If you ask for anyone and everyone, you get no one.
Right.
And so specific is terrific. What I got to do that first 90 days where I only made $2,500. And thankfully I did have a business loan to help me, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that I needed to start with that I knew no clue, like the technology, the landing pages. I had to outsource all of that, because you cannot be all things in your business. You are would you call yourself a strategist or a coach? I wasn't sure.
I would definitely call myself a strategist, because
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
very technical. I when I explained all of this to my wife, she kind of looked at me incredulously, like, "So you want to be a life coach?" I was like, "Well,
Uh,
I don't know." And she comes from a business background, and she's kind of almost sneered at it a little bit, and I get that, right? I know that sometimes life coaches get it's like, what are you paying them for? I don't know, but I
no,
don't
trust
know
me,
what it is.
I can identify with that. I actually, essentially, just like Monica, I'm a life/spiritual coach, because everything in business is life and spiritual. Everything that comes from
Right.
within, as within, so without. So it is how you show up in the world. That's the most important thing. However, I didn't want to call myself a life coach either. So I call myself a transformational sales coach. So people,
Okay.
again, confusion doesn't sell. So as you put down your 5 Ws and you go through this journey, I was able to narrow down the marketplace. So I specialize in coaches, healers, and podcasters. But guess what? It took me about 6 to 12 months of serving the wrong clientele to find the right. It's like dating. It's like looking for a house. Same
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I had that opportunity to self-discover. So yeah, 6 to 12 months is what it took me to narrow my niche. Because what I do is I do specialize in LinkedIn lead generation, helping people find 100 to 400 quality leads a month. Obviously, that doesn't happen the first month. It usually takes 6 to 12 months to even get that system down. Again, I'm giving you perspective.
Yeah.
That's part of the 5 Ws too, is where are you finding these people? So I found it took me 6 to 12 months, like I said, to get really good at LinkedIn, really good at webinars. And so that's the other thing is what is your lead magnet? That's part of the 5 Ws: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. I won't go through all of them because we don't have time, but I can absolutely
Right.
send you a recording of that training. The
Okay.
ultimate is to really just go all in and have the who, the what, the when, the why very clear, which creates for you a unique selling proposition. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can put that in your marketing, and you can put it on LinkedIn, you can put it on Facebook. Do you have a preferred platform, or how are you finding your leads now?
Well, currently I have no leads. I've worked with 2 clients, and it was just people that I knew that were struggling. Um, so I don't know where my people are. This
Mhm.
is a difficult thing. I do have an ocean related Instagram account with 3,000 followers, but I'm imagining those are not the people necessarily that are going to need some coaching.
Yeah,
Um, I've got about 300 followers on Twitter.
right
Again,
on.
not sure where my people are, and I haven't spent time on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that'll be a whole part of your self-discovery process. And again, not to sound self-serving, finding a coach to help you self-discover those things, as you know, is going to probably be key. So you make fewer mistakes, save time and money. So I hope that you can find that. But again, the good news is you're already clear on who you are. Now you just got to get more clear on what it is that you're selling, and how you can serve the world, and start small. And like I said, the beta idea, get a beta group together. I just did a beta group for a new 66-day program this summer. And even though I've been in sales and a business, I have a new certification, some new tools in my tool belt. So I went out and said, hey, this is my offer, and I was able to find 6 clients, boom, right away. So it's just a matter of probably starting with your warm market, starting with your sphere of influence. If you don't know what that is, that's just the people who
Yeah.
are in your phone, in your network, people that know, like, and trust you. However, if you do get clear on your 5 Ws, then you can even go and visit networking groups. There's a lot of online networking groups. I found leads that way. There's lots of opportunities out there. You just can't do them all, right? Like I said,
Right.
pick one platform. That's what I did. I first did Facebook for 90 days. It was fine, but I switched and did LinkedIn for the next 90 days. And I found out for me that was a better platform. So that's the other thing, is be open to testing different things. However, the same application applies that we've been talking about ad nauseum. Don't try to do them all at once. Do one and test it, and see what works for you. But it sounds like with where you're at, warm market is the best place to start anyway, because the slippery slope with social media is so many people are tired of it. I will tell you, that's why I'm still much more excited about LinkedIn and Facebook. I used to, and I still can. However, I'm being transparent with people as I see the algorithms change, as I see Facebook change. 2 years ago, I could easily have, like 400 people sign up for my 5-day lead generation and sales challenge from Facebook alone.
Wow.
Now it's crickets. My systems that I created for Facebook bait posts and private messaging. So I do organic, permission-based lead generation is my primary one, and business by referral. And I don't really like Facebook anymore. I'm 80% LinkedIn, 20% Facebook, and the only reason I'm 20% on Facebook is I still have a Facebook group of over about 1,200 people. Otherwise, I'd probably be completely off of Facebook. And I know Monica knows more about Instagram than I do, so I don't know if Monica can say anything about that.
Well, you do have to pick one, and I have been on LinkedIn a lot. I actually focus primarily on LinkedIn. The only reason I got onto Instagram at all was because I was on Clubhouse, and actually I've monetized a lot from Clubhouse in the past year and a half. And last year I got pretty much all my business from Clubhouse, so there's that
Wow.
too. Yeah, and so but it's changed too. I mean, you'll notice there's not a lot of people here because I'm not doing a regular, consistent thing like I used to. I used to do a daily room, and I might start doing that again. But there's a point at which you recognize that people need to find you, so you need to be visible. And even if you're
Right.
just doing a post every day and putting it on, Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, those are the three top ones, of course, I think. But get that, like what Lois is saying about the platform that really is for business people, which is, I think, is who your clients are business people, and they're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And Facebook is great for family, friends, and your immediate circles. And if you start a Facebook group, of course, that's where you could draw an audience in through that. But that's getting a little old too. A lot of people are tired of those things because they seem to be wasting time for people.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying. But I think the audio apps are really up and coming. That's why we're doing this today, and we want to keep going and do a weekly room here, is because there is much more value in being able to hear someone's voice and get they're an actual person that's actually had all this experience, and you can learn from them, even if you just show up in the clubhouse room
Yeah.
and listen every week to what they're sharing, because Clubhouse is about giving. It's about giving and collaborating. And then, if you like what you hear and you know that you need lead generation support or honing your message support, then you probably want to follow up with Lois, and you probably want to follow up with, because the two of us are in her membership program teaching there. Like, it's a great program to get you started, and it's not expensive. So it'd be a thing for you to really look into and see that, we could pin the link to that up here, and we aren't doing it today because it's our first time, but we will be pinning a link so you can just go in and sign up or find out what this membership is. And
Yeah.
it really is, and then you can learn how to do that too. So I really love Clubhouse. I've found that I've connected, I've made amazing friends here. I've got, quite a few followers now, which doesn't mean anything unless I've brought them into a list, right? So there's
Yeah.
that too. And so there's a lot of strategy that can that goes into it. But pick one or two platforms, focus there, do a daily post, and really speak to your audience about the problem you solve and the things that they struggle with. And then, and then really, and be clear that there are those people out there waiting just for you to show up. They really are meant to work just with you. I really believe that. And I think that's why you're here today, and also why we love doing this room, because it's kind of like a divine appointment, right? When you find a
It
client
really
that,
is. Absolutely.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's like, what are the chances, right, that we would meet up and have this conversation? It's nil. And yet here we are, massive value add for everybody. And, it's a beautiful thing. So I really appreciate you both.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you so much for the questions, because that just gave us the fodder for what we needed to talk about today, and helped us support you as well. And that's what it's all about. I love it.
Awesome.
Lois, we have like 5 more minutes probably. What do you think, Lois? How do you want to?
Gosh, I think we just start kind of wrapping it up. Any last? I'll give maybe one more tip, and if you want to give a tip, and then I'll just throw this out there too, because keep in mind, Monica, this is my first time doing this. So if Stephen, excuse me, if you wanted to book a call with either of one of us too, we'd be happy to put that out there for you. No strings attached or anything. Just sometimes to take action, and I always like to put call to action at the end of a webinar, a call to action at the end of this. If you're interested, let us know, and we can get that in there for you, so you can continue the conversation. Otherwise, just come back next week. I think we're gonna do the same time, same channel next week.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
great. Well, I'm following you now, so I will see you pop up.
great. Yeah, and if you did want to learn more, you can go to my Instagram profile and click on the link tree, and and do a free call if you want. And Lois, you have it attached to your Instagram, Lois? Your
I don't.
call?
It's just book a call with Lois.com. That's my domain, book a call with Lois.com. But based on what you're saying, you're giving me ideas. See, I just got a good tip. So I maybe want to put that on my Instagram profile. Is that what you're
You
saying?
do. You might as well. Yeah, so they can just find you easily. But I love it. Book a call with Lois is perfect. It's really easy.
Excellent.
Uh,
Do you have any
Anything
nugget
else?
or wisdom that you want to share? Otherwise,
Oh, well, I guess I just shared something, but I like the I just want to share, Stephen, that you do have uh the root cause analysis. I love the that language, actually. Root cause analysis. What's at the root of where you're stopped in life? What do you actually want? That's really what I think you could come into in terms of messaging. And I could go into a whole lot deeper, but it feels to me like you're already onto it. You just need to hone the message, and then you need to learn how to get clients to come into your system. I mean, create a system so you're getting clients every day. And also,
Yeah.
I love what Lois shared about your immediate sphere, people around you. Those are going to be your first clients. They also will be your clients throughout the whole thing. Some people only get clients that way. They just help people around them. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, help me. You really help me. Okay, great. Would you like to set up a call just to see how else I could help you? Like, not a big sales pitch thing. Just let's find out how deep, how I could completely help you, and just keep doing that. That's how I
Yeah.
got my first year going, because I just met people and said, well, I could help you with that. I could help you find the answer to that problem you're struggling with right now. And, I mean, people hear that, and they hear that you've heard them. You got to really listen to people. You got to really
Oh,
get
yeah.
where their problem is. Yeah. And that's a big, big skill that I think you probably already have, that being able to listen, being able to really bring it out of them. What do you want? It's huge.
and that'd be my last tip. And then I do got to run. Is have a number every day, Stephen. And I always started with my high five. I called it with more market approach specifically, since we were just talking about that. Who are 5 people on my phone that I have? Maybe they even owe me a favor. Like maybe I've done a lot for them in a past career, past life. Maybe they're a neighbor, someone in your spiritual community, wherever, however you know them, but you know them pretty well, and reach out to them 5 people a day, then, build your confidence there, then go to 10 people a day. And I'm still old school. I do believe our phone is still our freedom tool. I do believe in phone calls. I've actually closed a lot more sales that way with even just a quick, follow up phone call and get the sale. So just start with 5, build from there, and then keep tracking. I have a prospecting sheet that I give away for free too, but you can track them in your Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have a CRM, don't even worry about that, because a lot of people get really confused by the technology. Excel, or even good old fashioned Rolodex. I still have one of those, Monica, believe it or not. Whatever you need to do to stay focused on those 5 a day, and then 10 a day, and then 15 a day. And then I just want to wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Great to have you up here. And Lois, thank you for your time and your energy and your incredible insights and love. I'm so grateful we did this today. And I look forward to continuing to expand this and tell your friends and get some more people to come on in, because I think it's going to be so powerful for people to share, where they're struggling, and helping them test the marketplace, build your list, like really do those things. They're not going to come to you magically. You've got to do the work. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see where you're 90 days from now, Stephen.
I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, fantastic. And Madi, thank you for being here. We're going to close the room now. We're going to be back next week, same time, same station. If you do want to know more, just reach out to either Lois or myself. We're grateful you were here, and we hope that this supported you today. And listen to the replay if you'd like to. It's all going to be a part of our ongoing give here on Clubhouse in the Spiritual Awakening Club. So join my club too if you'd like, and then you can really get notified whenever we're going live.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Thank
right,
you,
guys.
everybody.
Thank
All right.
you.
And I will close the room in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for attending another amazing Healthy and Wealthy and Wise show. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, download, leave a review or a rating. And also, if you felt like you could benefit from some help, maybe some magnetic mind support, maybe some lead generation and sales strategy, I would love to gift you a free month of my membership, or go to bookacallwithlois.com. That's right, www.bookacallwithlois.com. And if you haven't had a one-time free strategy session with me, that's my gift to you today for attending all the way to the end. Here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom.